All right, today we're running the Kubota KX040-4. This is a 2020 model. And we're running it with this blue diamond brush cutter on it. And you can see we've had a little bleed down overnight on the hydraulic thumb, so we need to get that pulled back up, and we can walk through how the auxiliary hydraulics work. First and foremost, check the oil. That's on your back panel. And it's just right here next to the fuel water separator. Yep, that's good to go. You got a little safety latch there. When I run the cutter, I run it in hammer mode or one-way flow mode. And there's a valve for that right here under the right panel. It's this valve right here. So when it's up and down, that's normal. And when it's side to side, that's hammer mode. So to get the thumb back up, we need to put it in normal mode. Then over here on your auxiliary hydraulics, you have a valve on either side that controls whether the flow is going to the thumb cylinder or down to your attachment. So right now it is set for the attachment. So I'm using a 3/4 inch wrench. So there's an arrow right here on the top of the valve that shows you which direction it's pointing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Keys right here under the right-hand armrest. And you're going to have an indicator here. This machine's already warm, but normally you would have an indicator here for the glow plugs once it goes out. All right, we're going to go ahead and push down on this red lever here on the left. That's going to engage your hydraulics. Then you're going to engage your auxiliary hydraulics with the number 3 button here that says aux. Right now it's set for the cutting head, so we just keep pushing it until we get the icon for the implement that we're running. So over here on the right stick, the continuous flow button is the trigger under your index finger, and then the rocker switch on top is flow that's not continuous, and then your horn button is right there. So we're just going to go ahead and move it over to the right to retract the thumb all the way up. That's done. This machine is set for what's called backhoe controls, or I think SAE. So the boom up and down is on the left, so pull back and the boom goes up, push forward, the boom goes down. Left and right is going to control your swing. And then push forward on the right stick, the dipper stick goes out, pull back and it comes back in, and then your bucket is controlled left and right. On this machine, if you want to reverse the control pattern, it's going to be right behind your right leg as you're sitting in the seat. It's this lever right here. So you would just flip this door out and bring the valve up like that, and then just reclose the door. And then that's going to reverse your control. So now when I pull back on the right stick, the boom is going up and down, and back and forth on the left stick is controlling the dipper arm. Over here on the right hand side is where most of your controls are. The stick closest to the window controls the blade, so up and down. And then it's got, if you push it all the way forward, it goes into float mode. It's a detent valve, so you have to pull back on it to get it out. Underneath your index finger on that stick is a button that controls your high and low speed travel. And then if it's equipped with an angle blade, like this one is, the rocker switch on top is going to control the left and right pitch of the blade. This is your air conditioner controls. This is your windshield washer and wiper blade controls. This switch will cancel the regen if you need to do that. This is your eco mode, which I do not run eco mode on the cutter, but I will run it on when I'm just digging or grading or something like that. When it's not heavy, it does save a little bit of fuel. This button here controls your automatic idle, so if I idle it up right now, the light's off, so it's not in automatic idle down mode. If I push the button and wait a few seconds, it will idle down on its own, just like that. This is for a beacon if it's equipped. This one is not. And then, and I think also the travel alarm, but this one does not have a travel alarm on it. And then this switch here controls your lights, and I think it's just single position on the lights, turns everything on. We'll throttle it up. You can drive this with your feet or your hands. The controls are close enough that it's pretty easy to just run your hands out there, but there are times when you need to drive with your feet too. So to that, and then I can just push down on the pedals and track just the same way, no problem. Alright, now we're just in low speed travel mode, and if I hit this button here underneath my finger on the blade control, you get a double beat, and that tells you you're in high speed mode. Push that same button again and you get one beat, and that tells you you're back in low speed. Alright, so today we're running this Blue Diamond 36-inch brush cutter, and really the whole trick to brush cutting with these mini excavators is just keeping that blade speed up, and you do that by making slow, smooth movements. If you try to move too fast or use the hydraulics too much, you'll lose speed on the cutting head and it really won't do much of anything. Using the swing or the turntable to go left and right, that does not hurt your blade speed. But any of your other primary hydraulic functions, especially if you're like lifting up, which takes more effort, you will lose speed. So it's like you want to get it set and then start cutting after you hear the blade spin up all the way. Then what I do is I just let off that rocker switch, move around to where I want to reposition to, get reset, and then hit the rocker switch again. I'll just try to kind of work the brush from the top down. And then once I get it or it's torn down pretty good, you can kind of just very easy put the cutter head down on top of whatever's left. And it does a pretty good job chewing it up. You may have to go over it a few times. Just remember that the faster you try to move the arm, the more hydraulic flow you're going to take away from the cutter head. Most excavators are built that way. They do not have a dedicated hydraulic pump for the auxiliary. Some do, but most do not. So you're always trying to manage the flow to the cutting head versus the flow you're taking away from it by doing other things. Those are the main points I can think of to cover for a Kubota mini excavator. So I hope you found this information helpful. We appreciate Cloud Store for sponsoring this video, and we look forward to seeing you on a future one.